Hi, it's Thursday, and this is our 9/11 special, and I'm going to bring on George, and I'm going to bring on Sean. Morning.
Good morning. Solemn morning, isn't it? Somber, I should say. Somber morning.
Yeah, it's a
Sad
somber.
day. Sad day yesterday for America and also today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Um, I'm going to bring up the chat on my end after I read what I've got on my phone because I don't have both computers with me today to be able to read the chat. So I'm going to get into doing that. But if you
Before you
guys,
start, I
yeah,
think George, I don't know if you have your phone for chat on. You got to make the volume down because I hear
I
a
thought you took it
repeat.
down. No, mine's down. My voice ain't
That's
on at all.
is yours. Do you have a? I hear a. I don't know if everybody else hears it. I hear a repeat like a not an echo, but it's like a delay. So somebody's thing is down.
okay. Am I delaying?
Let me hit my mic, see if
Oh,
it's
there
not
it is.
on.
No, now I don't hear it.
Okay, that's good.
No, I don't
All
hear
right.
it.
I'm going to open up with a special prayer here today. We're going to do things a little bit different. I'm going to do an opening prayer, and then I've got a reel to do for 9/11. And we're going to have 2 moments of silence for Charlie and one for 9/11. And if George goes in and out, it's because he's having a little bit of a difficult time today. So he'll be back if he needs to be. Okay? So we're going to go ahead. So the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. And that is Psalm 34:18. Heavenly Father, on this day of remembrance, we lift up the souls lost, the families grieving, and the heroes who gave their all. Bring comfort to the brokenhearted, peace to the restless, and strength to our nation as we remember. May we honor their memory by walking in faith, unity, and love. Protect us, Lord, and guide us in your light. Amen.
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 So I want to show the timeline one more time so everybody can see that, and then I'm going to go into the reel, okay?
Those are the exact timelines of the events of that day. Um,
Yep. At this
which a lot of
point,
people.
both towers were struck.
Right.
Sad day indeed.
Yeah, when
Okay.
that you got.
Is there something you want to say?
No, I was gonna say when the first plane hit, I didn't even know if it hit. I just felt the ground shake and then heard the explosion, but didn't know a plane hit. We all ran out of the building.
So
Up
George, you were in the building
the
when it
north,
happened,
the North Tower, 7th floor.
and so you obviously had no idea. You felt the building shake.
Yeah, it felt
Um,
like, but felt like earthquake. I was in earthquakes a few times in Italy, so I just knew what it was. But then I heard the explosion. But I thought it was when I ran out of the building. I thought it was, um, I saw the crowd coming from the other side of the building. We went down the stairs. 2 weeks prior
you
to
remember
that,
what
believe it or
floor
not.
you remember what floor you were on?
Yeah, I was on the 7th floor.
Oh, so okay,
But
wow,
but the thing was, 2 weeks prior to that, I had dreams that the fire department were on the floor. You know,
really?
yeah. So when
Wow.
we went out, I saw the flames coming out of the building, but I thought it was the generator room because they had backup generators with diesel fuel and tankers on these floors that in case the trade center lost power, they would have backup power for the elevators and stuff
Wow.
because of so that's what I thought it was until the second plane hit, and then
Hmm.
the flames just took off in the North Tower, um, and then the people that you saw jump out and the firemen that ran out of the building. Who knows how many faces I saw um, coming in, and how many didn't come out. Um, the port authority told you to stay in the building and everything is fine, which I think
That's right.
caused my
Remember, that's right. Remember, they announced that. Yeah,
yeah,
they told people to go back. As a matter of fact,
yeah,
didn't they?
yep. And it,
Hmm.
I'll explain about another I mean, about how the buildings were, the towers, how they're built because they had elevators. Everything was in the center core of the building, so they had elevator banks from local elevators from 1 to 48, and then from an express elevator from 1 to 48, and then they had local elevators from 48 to 72, and then they had an express elevator from 1 to 72. And the elevator was a big, I'm talking about, I don't know, maybe 15 by 15 feet.
Mm.
That's how many people were in there to go, to go up. And what happened is a lot of people did go in those elevators when the plane hit, and they didn't make it out because the fuel just went down there on fire. And because we had some communications on the radio, I just heard crackling sound and stuff. So it was bad. And then the people that were jumping out were blocking out the revolving doors, so people couldn't get out. So
Mm.
there's the reel that Trixie put together. There's a lot of photos that have never been seen before. It was the next day, which you'll see a lot of stuff that you'll be surprised of what they look like. So, but there were 17 coffee wagons every day around the trade center, and they're all owned by Muslims. And the reason why I knew that is because they had the Ayatollah Khomeini's picture in each one of the coffee wagons.
Wow.
And they weren't there that morning, and also half of the cabs that show up. It was like a holiday, really. You couldn't believe it. Beautiful, gorgeous day too, as everybody
It
knows.
was a stunning day. Absolutely. I remember that morning. Wow.
So if everybody later on, if they watch the reel, if they want to say where they were the day at an event that happened, I know, Charlie was assassinated yesterday, and this is the evil that the same evil that hit him is the same evil that did 9/11 and Benghazi and all the other ones that are done by these evil people, and it's just a shame that what they did to Charlie, because they knew they killed the freedom of speech from him. I mean, what he did, and it touched the youth, and they were worried. The evilness was worried. Whoever they are, the left. I mean, supposedly Johnson had a prayer, and supposedly the Democrats booed. I don't know how true that is. Last night for Charlie, but the evilness that they have, these people, it's unbelievable. If they're not possessed, I don't know what to tell people. It's just a shame that nobody a lot of people don't understand what took place yesterday. They don't realize it, and what it does, it takes away from the event of today. And everything is done for a reason. Like the cook, the guy that tried to assassinate President Trump, that's an ending.
Crooks or cooks? Crooks.
Yeah, crooks. Yeah,
Thomas Crooks.
Yeah, and he was involved with, the oligarchs and everything else. Everybody's getting hurt in the pocket from what Trump is doing, and they figured they were worrying about the midterm because Charlie was convincing a lot of the young generation to vote in the 2026 election. The election for the midterm. So I think they felt threatened by that, and I think that's how the events were. That was a professional guy it might not have been professional, but it was a professional shot. It was known as a kill shot because exactly where they shot him in the neck. So
Yeah.
but you could run that video reel.
Yeah, this is a reel for 9/11. It's a little bit longer than what we normally do, but I think it's important too.
I hear people saying we don't need this war. I say there's some things worth fighting for. What about our freedom and this piece of ground? We didn't get to keep them by backing down. And they say we don't realize the mess we're getting in. Before you start your preaching, let me ask you this, my friend. Have you forgotten how it felt that day? to see your homeland under fire and her people blown away. Have you forgotten when those towers fell? We had neighbors still inside, going through a living hell. And you say we shouldn't worry about Bin Laden. Have you forgotten? They took all the footage off my TV, said it's too disturbing for you and me. It'll just breed anger, that's what the experts say. If it was up to me, I'd show it every day. Some say this country's just out looking for a fight. After 9/11, man, I'd have to say that's right. Have you forgotten how it felt that day to see your homeland under fire and her people blown away? Have you forgotten when those towers fell? We had neighbors still inside, going through a living hell. And we vowed to get the ones behind Bin Laden. Have you forgotten? Soldiers who've gone away to war, you can bet that they remember just what they're fighting for. Have you forgotten all the people killed? Yeah, some went down like heroes in that Pennsylvania field. Have you forgotten about our Pentagon? All the loved ones that we lost, and those left to carry on. Now we don't have to worry about Bin Laden. Have you forgotten? Have you forgotten? Have you forgotten?
If you notice that pass, the last days of that pass was 9/25/01. That was freaky. That was after that.
Okay, I'm going to read something for George, and so here we go. The same evil that has taken Charlie Kirk is the same evil that caused 9/11. Good morning. 24 years ago, when I went to work in the World Trade Center, it was a beautiful day. As I came out of the subway on Greenwich Street and Bessie Street, I went to my usual stop to get my coffee, which were standalone coffee wagons, and they weren't there. And also down the block, there was also another one on another corner, and it wasn't there. So I went into the building to a Krispy Kreme where I got my coffee. I didn't put things together that all the coffee wagons, which I knew were owned by Muslims, and I knew that because they all had the photo of Ayatollah Khomeini on them. So my partner and I were getting material. We are electricians contracted out for a company, and we were going to meet a technician that would work for a trading company. And he didn't show up that morning, and they were also Muslim. Still didn't put the shit together. And my partner said he couldn't get coffee there. No coffee wagon. Put in mind that there were a total of 17 coffee wagons around the World Trade Center, and not one was there. Usually every morning we would have the TV on, but that morning we didn't. And then all of a sudden we felt the building shake, then heard the explosion. We didn't know a plane hit the building, so my partner said, wait, see what happens. We looked out of the windows and saw what looked like white flakes coming down, and I said, we're getting the fuck out of here. We're on the 7th floor of the World Trade Center. Everyone was running out of the building, and was told to cover our heads. As we ran out, my partner and I were separated. I was on the corner, looked up, and saw flames shooting out of the building. I thought it was the generator room. I didn't know the plane hit until the second one did. All the Muslims knew we were getting hit or something was going to happen that day. I will never forget a 9/11, the close friends I lost, people jumping out of the building to their deaths, the close to 3,000 people that lost their lives, the hero firemen, police officers, Port Authority officers, and EMT that sacrificed their lives for so many. That night, 3,250 children's parents didn't come home, and think about that. Total deaths as of today, 7,275 from the effects of 9/11. 343 firefighters, 23 New York PD officers, and 37 Port Authority. Passengers and crews of Flight 11, 175, 77, and 93 all perished. Flight 93 was taken down by heroes. I know the mother of one, Karen Bingham. Her son's name was Mark Bingham. She has taken me to the crash site with Brian Gates. Remember that Brennan signed for 12 terrorists that posed with student visas to come to America to learn how to fly a plane, and they were from Saudi Arabia.
Now, Mr. Brennan he worked for the CIA, but he converted over to becoming an Islamic Muslim. So, I mean, all the plans were set, and they all knew. I mean, they came to Florida to learn how to fly, and they tell the instructor, "Oh no, we don't want to learn how to land. We just want to learn how to fly." I mean, but everybody was worried about the money. They got big money from these countries, especially from the terrorist groups.
Yeah.
But the events that you want to do the moments of silence for you finished reading that story, right?
Yeah.
The 343 firemen, everything that she mentioned about the numbers was that day, but there's still a lot of firemen that are dying today and police officers, because that rag that was down there says that the air quality was fine. It was bullshit, because there was asbestos when the towers, when the first tower went up, when it hit the 70th floor, asbestos was outlawed, and they had truckloads of asbestos. So what they did is they poured the asbestos in the concrete. I mean, it was a concrete filler, but still under heat and where the collapse was, with all these beautiful theories that are out there. That the planes that hit the Trade Center were holograms, and the way that there was Israeli put explosions on the floor, which is all bullshit. Because we went up and down those buildings, even when the buildings were, if the buildings were empty, there was a thing called temporary light, which electricians would go up there and check to make sure the lights were on and off and stuff like that. So all those rumors that they say, and they got all these wonderful professors about saying how the buildings came down. The building came down the way they were supposed to come down, but the people don't know how the core of the buildings were. I mean, if you saw,
the only thing, I don't know if they're ever meant to come down, right? I mean, it's
no, they built them. They built them that way, just in case
everything was in the center.
Yeah, and exactly how but they're saying that because of everybody watches, like, they're taking down the buildings in Las Vegas and how the implosion happens, but 7 World Trade Center. See, when after 1993, when the first thing happened, they built the 7 World Trade Center. So when they built the 7 World Trade Center, all the trucks and every supplies had to go through the 7 World Trade Center. They had a security guard at 7 World Trade, and also if the trucks decided to back out or whatever, they had those spikes that came out of the ground to stop them. So
plus them poles.
Yeah, right. They had all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. At 7 World Trade. So everything went through there. So because they didn't want the same thing to happen again, So, but in
they
7
kept
World
everything at bay. They kept everything at bay from the towers, is what you're saying. Yeah.
And the 7 World Trade There was the CIA, FBI. They had studies of inside training because they were um, keeping an eye on, because there was a lot of trading companies in the trade centers. So we're looking at the inside trading and stuff that was going on. But those buildings had 3 floors of generators and stuff like that. So it was a good possibility that came down with the help of some people. But the other ones, the regular trade center, no.
Well, you said, yeah, you talked about that asbestos. I mean, yeah, that's been widely known, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Right? But I remember.
All the floors. When they had the floors, they put down the floors. They put down asbestos tile.
Yeah.
Asbestos tile was big. So now when I would do a job,
even schools had that. Yeah, a lot of schools had that.
But even inside the piping in the center of the core, they never got rid of the asbestos there. But the tiles, when we used to do a job and they abate the floor, they would put these computer floors on, which had stanchions which held the computer floor up, where all the cables would go under. So what I would do is I'd break one of the stanchions and I'd look at the tile, and if there was crystal in it, I knew right away those tiles were asbestos.
Yeah.
So I would go to the contractor and tell them, listen, my guys are not working here unless you do an abatement, which I would bring in companies actually to pick up the tiles, scrape the floor. They would work on the big plastic tents and stuff. So
wow,
they know the stuff that's terrible. I mean, I have. I think I got 18 nodules in my lungs, and I also have now. I was blessed 2 years with COPD, which I never. That was a blessing.
No, that's. Well, I remember we went up. My father-in-law and I went up on Friday night and walked around that area.
Uh-huh.
You had to have your shirt over like this because it burned you. It burned your inside. You could feel it. And even afterwards now, I mean, I always have this cough now. I always equate it to going up there.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is that when they were working there, the firemen, and they were looking for their brothers and stuff. So the whole thing is the mask that they had to wear was the one with the 2 filters on the side. Because if we on the floor with the asbestos, that's what we had to use. I mean, we went to class in school for that stuff because when I used to work on the construction floor. But the 2 things on the side, and it's very annoying to have that. And a lot of them firemen and everything else, more concentrating on looking for their fellow brothers and stuff, that they had to take the mask off. And I mean, you could see the.
You can't even see. You can't even see because it's out here. Yeah. It obstructs your vision, obviously, right?
It's terrible. It's just an kind of. I mean, I see the pictures. The pictures that were put on that reel were very rare. That they were taken the next day and stuff like that. And that day, they had. I got them from certain people too. So.
Well, when I was watching that, I noticed one of the pictures. Look, you can see that you can see they were fire engines. And they were busted up. I remember we were walking around. We went by a street where they pulled a lot of these out, and they had a lot of stuff stashed.
Yeah, no coffee wagons.
They looked, but some of these fire trucks, they looked like pretzels the way they were bent up. I mean, it was unbelievable. And what a big fire truck looks like whole. Yeah. It was like
some guys went underneath that when the building started to collapse. I mean, there was people buried. When one building collapsed, there were like 14 firemen that were on the bottom floor, but they had like a pocket until they got them out. There were like a total of 14 of them. I mean, it's just. They went into that building like you wouldn't believe. It's the sacrifices that they made were unbelievable. So.
I want to give you guys kind of a different perspective. I know you 2 are from the East Coast. So you had, a regular bird's eye view of everything. I'm going to give you a perspective of what happened with me on that day. I was traveling. I wasn't even home. I was in Las Vegas. And I was boarding the plane right at the time that all this happened. And we weren't told anything. We were told just to get off the plane, grab your bags, and get out of the airport as fast as you can. When I checked out of my hotel, I had left the key on the credenza underneath the TV. I didn't check out normal. So anyways, we had no idea what was going on. Went walking through the airport with the bags, and one of the bars had you know how they have those metal grates across they had that grated, but the TV was on, and all I could see was the World Trade Center smoking. But as we were boarding the plane, there was a bunch of guys that were in suits in Area 51 and a couple other places are right around that airport. The guys in suits had, you know, cell phones weren't real common then. Their cell phones just started going off too. And all they said was that we're not going to stand for this. This isn't going to happen. So obviously they were military or they were government people. So got out of the airport. Anyways, the cab driver didn't know what was going on. Went back to the hotel. I got back into the same room because I hadn't literally checked out. But because I was in Las Vegas, they thought Hoover Dam was going to be a target for everything that was going on. And I was up on the 23rd floor of the hotel. And where I was, they shut all the lights off on the strip. It was totally dark. There was nobody on the streets at all. And from my window, I could see the helicopters with the guns on the front and everything. They were coming right in front of my window. You know, they had ceiling windows where I was at. So you could see that going. And I went downstairs and I was talking to people, and that's what they were saying. It was that area was a target. They had no idea. I ended up being stuck there 5 days because I couldn't fly out. You couldn't rent an RV. You couldn't rent a car. There was nothing available. There was a lot of people that were there that had checked out of their rooms and then couldn't go anywhere. And a lot of the casinos put up in their ballrooms cots and stuff like that for people to stay. And because ATM cards weren't around that much either, there were people that ran out of money and had no money and no way to get any money, and they were stuck there.
That's the worst town to be in with no money is Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I'm telling. I have never seen anything that creepy. But there was nobody gambling. There was nobody in the restaurants. I think most people, you know, realized the gravity of everything and were up in their room. I had a guy from India offer to give me all of his frequent flyer miles and everything just so I could get home. But it didn't matter if he gave me the miles because you couldn't go anywhere. So finally, I mean, I think I was on the phone for like 2 days.
every plane was put down on the ground except one that flew out was
Saudi Arabia.
So yeah, it was the family of Obama's. I mean, not Obama, Bin Laden.
Bin Laden's, yeah.
Well, Obama was the same. He was the same part of that whole.
He probably was on. Yeah, he may have been on that plane too.
Yeah. Just he brought Clinton brought the Muslim Brotherhood into the White House, and so did Obama. So I mean, they were infiltrating us for years after that, and I think when who knows if Bin Laden was really killed, but that's another story.
Yeah, that's
I knew somebody that was in Vegas the same time when you were there on that day, and I worked with them at the car dealership. They were out there for some type of financing convention, right? And they were coming back, and they couldn't get back. And then the guy went to go rent a car, couldn't rent a car, like you said. So you knew what they ended up doing. You know, Hertz and you know, some of the companies like Enterprise. Actually, it was Enterprise. They sell cars, right, to dealers and stuff. So they ended up buying a car out there and drove the car back home from Vegas, and then we sold it at the dealership. But you know, people were stranded. That must have been something. I mean, think when you get bumped on a plane now and you just get bumped a couple hours or something like that. You know, you get your phones, you could text people, whatever. It's real easy. But back then, you didn't have it like you're right. You didn't have technology like we do.
No,
now.
and I had left my kids home.
Wow.
You know, and so they were home by themselves. You know, I think at the time they were, like 15, 14, and 13. So I mean, they were okay. You know, but they were like basically traumatized. You know, because they were home when that happened, and I wasn't there, being the mom. You know, but it was just a quick 4-day trip, and I was going to be back home. It was over a long weekend, and I was coming home on that Monday.
Wow.
But, yeah, I went out. Yeah. So like there's so many different perspectives of different things, you know, that people saw. Like George is horrible. Yours is horrible. Mine isn't so much horrible as it's just that being in Vegas to see everything dark like that and nobody on the streets and nobody gambling was really freaky. But like one of the guys in the hotel, his son was in the Pentagon when that happened. And what he was worried about is he hadn't heard from his son. And that's one, like, I don't even know what happened. You know,
Yeah.
there's lots of people like that.
Have some one of friends. I'm trying to get him on the show. His name is Jim Warshak. He was a colonel in the Air Force, and he was in the Pentagon when the planes hit. And he said, George, a plane hit there.
Hmm.
And here's a story about that's very. It was a great story because what happened is they also they made a mistake with the building because they were supposed to hit the other side of the building. But what happened is they hit the side that where the command center, where all of them meet, the generals and stuff, weren't in that spot. But when it hit, the Marines took all the kids because they had childcare in there. And they took all
Daycare,
the
yeah.
kids out. Yeah, they took all the kids out, put them in a circle, got all the cribs, and surround the children with the cribs. They opened up all the cribs and put the cribs around them. And the Marines stood all around the children until everything was taken care of, until the parents,
Hmm.
whoever survived, to get the kids. I mean, there's. I just put a picture in about the cross that they found. I was looking for another one. That was in.
Oh yeah, remember that? The beams. Yep.
Now there's another picture with the three. I'm trying to find that, but you know when the three firemen were holding the American flag,
Yes.
raised it like Hiroshima. What they were trying to do, believe it or not, and this is how politics played in a thing that was disgusting. They wanted to put a person of color, take one of the white guys out, and put a person of color to make it politically correct on a thing like that.
Hmm.
The people went nuts. You know, not only the firemen and also all construction workers. That's how uh, bad it was. I mean,
Wow.
this is the mentality that we've been dealing with even before, all that time and before then.
Wow. Yeah. What a day.
There was even a fireman that rode in with a Harley Davidson. I don't know if you saw that picture was in there.
Yeah,
I
that
can
was in
remember.
the real.
Yeah, he was there. And one of the pictures that really took me back was when you saw the fireman's hand come through the cloud, the mist of the ashes when the building fell. That he was out reaching to get
Hmm.
out.
Let me see if I can bring that up here real quick.
Um,
Here it is.
yeah, that's
Wow.
it. I mean, look at you see the shadow of the fireman,
Yeah.
but this is after the building collapsed, and his hand is reaching out, either to save somebody or to grab somebody to grab his hand to pull him out.
I
I
don't
don't know.
think I ever saw that picture until now. That's
No,
that's
I have the
powerful.
pictures. There's a lot of pictures I put in there that what don't forget the news media did not want to show like the same thing. I mean, look at the evilness that came out about Charlie, that he was killed, and everything else. I mean, Charlie was assassinated. It was. I mean, the whole thing was planned. I mean, we could go into the what is that MK? What is that MK?
MK Ultra.
Yeah, MK Ultra. And, I mean, the way that was a kill shot to hit the jugular vein. Just imagine that if that same guy did the assassination against President Trump. I mean,
Oh well, again, yeah. Again, it was like this difference from having him as our president and having him not. I mean, it was unbelievable. I wish we could say the same thing about Charlie today. I wish it
when I
was.
saw that blood, come out, I said, "It's done. He's done. He lost too much blood. They're gonna get pump all the blood they want. It wasn't gonna happen. I mean, that bullet went through his neck, and
Yeah.
right in the jugular. I mean, the way
That amount of blood loss at one time, that was a catastrophic loss. Immediately, his pressure would have dropped right then and there. His blood pressure.
he would have lost everything.
Once
to
you
his
see
brain.
that video, yeah, that's not survivable. It would totally destroy the carotid artery on top of the blood loss. It's just,
And like with President Trump, a crook, we still haven't gotten an answer for. You know what I'm saying? They cremated the body right away. It was like, I mean, it was during the Biden administration. So they were trying to hide something. And the same thing is this here. The only thing that, because of his evilness, I didn't say, but maybe it would turn these kids around. I mean, that's what Charlie did. And I think the threat of Charlie, because of his speech and the way he handled the college students, are the future voters of America. So
Mhm.
if they killed him and took him out, and what he did it, I went to a lot of turning point things, and it's amazing the young people that drive for this, for what he said and everything else. I mean, he had answers for everything. He was very he didn't finish college.
No, he was pretty much against college. He wrote a book called The College. I think it's called
Yep.
The College Scam or something like that. He wrote a book on,
He's right.
and it just goes to show you with purpose, right? With purpose,
Yep. Right.
faith, and a desire of what you could do. I mean, look what he built at only 31 years old. I mean, I've said this
Oh,
yesterday.
this kid would be president. Yep.
Yesterday I said several times. I mean, I looked forward to seeing what he was going to accomplish in life. I was looking forward to maybe voting for him one day as president, because I think he would be. I think he would. Yeah.
There's videos out there that show him, the kids running to him, even on Fox. No, I didn't watch Fox, but I'm saying there was a clip on.
Oh, his kid. Yeah, he apparently he was on Fox and Friends or something last week, or just recently, from my understanding. And I guess the kids during the segment were ran over to his beautiful kid, beautiful family.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, but it might sound crazy now, but this was a lot to take off of about 9/11. That's what I believe. I think because the 25th anniversary is going to be next year. I mean, it's not it's a remembrance that everybody has to remember, and there's a lot of people. Everybody forgot about Benghazi, right? 2012, Benghazi was done. Clinton killed her best friend, Steve, the guy that was the ambassador for Libya.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to make an observation.
That's when Clinton said, "What difference does it make?"
Yeah.
Right? What difference does it make?
She should have the worst death.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Trix.
I was just going to say, but I wanted to say something about Charlie, though. If he was not preaching, but he was talking about the principles and the importance and the morality of family life and faith and having children and bringing them up that way. And when you look at the deep state and what they want, it's not that. They want no family. Right. They want division. They don't want the religion and
family. They want to break up that nuclear family.
Exactly. Right. So Charlie, if you look at it that way, Charlie was an extreme threat to them, even though he didn't hold office or anything like that. But the influence that he had over the younger generation was
strong.
I feel, was truly threatening to them. But you would have never expected that outcome.
Look what they did. They posted his photo. Fake news media posts his photo. A right wing activist was killed.
He liked to have civil discourse and have a conversation, and it's unbelievable.
But I'm just saying how they posted it, and every fucking one of them, and that's why these news media should be taken down. I mean, people should go and protest them, not protest anything else. I mean, I think that's the news media. Right. Was it that Smith-Mundt Act that's out there, and the GOP fucking signed it and put it in that big beautiful bill that
they put it in the NDAA. Yes,
right?
They put it in the NDAA. Yeah. That's how they slipped it into that, and so that people wouldn't notice that was being re-upped again. But they did do it. But I wanted to make another point. The night before Charlie was assassinated, I saw different people online saying the same thing, that there was some kind of a mass effort to discredit Charlie that day. And if you go back to some of the left-wing shows like MSNBC and stuff, they were all talking about Charlie. Now, why is that just a coincidence, or did they know and word was out that something was going to happen the next day? Because they don't talk about Charlie every day of the week. Well,
that guy was fired finally. That jerk off at MSNBC. Yeah.
Well, to get back to Trix's point. I mean, there's something going around that matter of fact, George, Ralph texted to us this morning. There's I guess I don't know if it was on Twitter or what. Somebody saying there's going to be a big day at my school tomorrow or something like that. that could have been somebody that was, maybe just because they were going to try to debate Charlie and whatever. But I don't know. I think for sure he obviously he had security, and it's easy to be look in the rearview mirror. But I'm just surprised he didn't do these things inside where you could have proper security, where people would have to go through, metal detectors and whatnot, and you'd have a little more security there than just being outside like that. I'm just surprised.
He didn't feel threatened. I mean, he just, so did you look at President Trump. He walks around and, he doesn't. They feel they have the shield of God upon them. Not me, but I had a knife thrown at me. I've been shot at. I believe I got God's shield around me, and everybody believes the same thing. We're all on a mission to complete, and the mission's got to be done. It's to save this country, and that's what happens is now, if you notice, France collapsed. All the other things that are happening, right? They're being threatened. The financial system, the banking system of England is freaking out. They're on suicide watch because of what Trump's doing. And then Johnson, instead of doing, they did a prayer at the hall and stuff like that. And the Democrats, whatever the hell they did, they booed or some shit. But the whole thing is, Johnson, you got to put your shit together and arrest these liberal judges. That liberal judge that let that guy out 14 fucking times to stab that girl in the neck, she was a DEI factor that was picked by another.
Somebody says she wasn't even a lawyer.
No, she was a worker.
She wasn't even a lawyer, right?
No, she was a social worker.
Yeah, how does that even happen?
Well, this is what I'm talking about. And Congress, they had that Judicial Act of 1801. I say it all the fucking time, but they don't do shit. These two assholes, Johnson and Toon, stood behind in Congress, hit that gavel minute a day so Congress could be in session. And what's his name? President Trump could not appoint his recess appointments. He had 150 to do, and they stopped it. Everything was planned. But look, tell me these two assholes don't work for the deep state. Tell me. And he's talking about Christianity, how much he loves God, how much he does this. Even the devil could preach the Bible. It has nothing to stop him either.
That's true too. The devil did preach the Bible, but you go back to a lot of this stuff, and it ties in that the evil from 9/11 was when our whole country shifted, and the Patriot Act was brought in just to take away our rights and everything. And so a lot of that, it just keeps snowballing and snowballing and snowballing. And you look at Charlie, that was, besides being an assassination, it was a warning to people that talk, but it's also a warning about your First Amendment rights, if you really think about it, because he was speaking from the heart and everything on things. We have the freedom of speech. And so now to me, this is just my opinion, but I think that was put out, that happened. And I think it was done so that the people that are speaking out now that things are getting, really bad with the deep state and everything, to shut them up.
Put that 9/12 photo I showed you. I sent you that. Please put that up. This is an important photo, if you remember.
9/12.
The one about 9/12. The day after 9/11 was the most patriotic day.
Sure. And unified day too.
Yeah. Everybody was together.
Yep.
Yeah. Everybody read this. This is.
Yeah.
This was.
I'll read it out loud in case you can't read it. Okay. It says, I miss 9/12. I would never ever want another 9/11, but I miss the America of 9/12. Stores ran out of flags to sell because they were being flown everywhere. People were Americans before they were upper or lower class, Jewish or Christian, Republican or Democrat. We hugged people without caring if they ate at Chick-fil-A or wore Nikes. On 9/12, what mattered more was what united us than what divided us.
Absolutely. That was probably one of the nicest days on 9/12 of just humanity to people, right? More than anything.
Yep. I agree 100%. But
Yeah.
you know, it is the problem is these kids aren't taught history. They would never. The kids in college that are in college have no idea, don't remember about 9/11, and the piece of
No.
shit professors that there will not bring that up either, because they will not show anything of that participates that make United States look good, America look good. They just got to keep on trashing it, and the whole thing about what Charlie wrote about that book about the colleges was the biggest scam going. They took all the shops out of high schools. They used to have shops. They used to taught people how to weld, electrical, carpentry, everything. And what they did is because of the minorities weren't going to college and getting the scam going between the banks and the colleges. If you notice right away, as soon as they got the college loan, the rates went up in the college, and everything was all kicked back. Look, what are they tricks? What do they call that thing about the endowment that they have? Uh, uh, Hunter College and Georgetown, the billions of dollars that they have in endowment. I mean,
Yeah.
where did they get that money from?
Well, a lot of that they say it comes from alumni donors and
Yeah, well,
corporations and everything, but they need to go ahead and tax that money, and you'll find out where it's coming from, and they won't tax it. But if they did, you'd probably find out a lot of it was foreign funding, because
Yeah,
the
well-
foreign that way they get the policies that they want, just like China probably funds a lot of the endowments, and so that they go with the Chinese doctrine, and that's the deep state. If you look at the deep state is the Chinese doctrine. I have no other way of putting it. It's one world order is what they want. And
Papa Bear said something very good in here. Because of Charlie's death, there will be no 9/12 failing this year, and he's got a great point there. You think people are going to stand? You think people are going to sit by? I think there's going to be a big problem if this doesn't get resolved with these judges and everything. These people better. We got to go out and vote on the 26th. We got to get the governor in Jersey. The red. Look what this jerk off is doing in there. Everybody, even even Virginia, that the girl's having a hard time. And then when that girl preaches against Ciccarelli there, right, Sean?
Yep.
About what she's talking about. I mean, the electric rates went up so high. People can't afford. People cannot afford anything. Even Florida. Florida's no big bargain. We got the highest interest for insurance for homeowners.
Insurance, yeah, homeowners. Yeah.
And they're all getting kickbacks, and all of them. Power companies, same shit. Solar panels, where Tracy lives, right? 30,192 fucking acres is solar. And it's only 51%. We had that guy, David Walsh, on. We're going to get him back again. You tell me, I'm looking at these blades spinning in Indiana, like very slow.
That's the most expensive form of energy, those blades. They say that, I mean, solar's better than them.
Yeah,
everybody should watch that show, Landman.
Landman.
Landman. That's a good
watch
show.
That. You'll learn everything.
The interesting part about is I'm going to say this, but I think I said it before. Maybe because the left loves their solar power and green energy and wind energy so much that we should start doing executions with that, so that when because the lefties are the ones that are usually executed, it'll take them a nice long time because it won't be done efficiently and make them suffer.
Oh yeah,
I know that's a horrible thing to say.
Great idea, I think we should wrap them on top of the solar panels because they'll cook.
Put them on the blades of the window. Let them go circle around, and maybe you could.
Petroleum runs those things.
Yeah, put the petroleum leak out on them. Yeah, it's but you know what? I think, and my friend Chris, I know he was in here a little bit ago. He said to me yesterday on the phone, he says, they may have took out one voice, but yesterday they made probably thousands of Charlie Kirks out there. Hopefully people,
I agree.
I even had a conversation with Scott Pressler last night. Christian reached out.
I was worried about him too. We talked about him.
And he will not back down. God bless him. Hopefully I'll see him soon in Jersey. And, but yeah, he's wonderful. I said to him, I worry about you, but you're out there registering people at fairs, county fairs, and stuff like that. I mean, at least Charlie was he was whatever, but some wacko could walk right up to him. But and the reason I'm bringing it up, I wasn't going to bring up my conversation with Scott last night, but I just saw he put on Twitter. Somebody told him about getting security. He said message received. I see he posted that, so he's pretty,
he's got to wear the vest. He's got to wear the biker vest.
Yeah, but it's hopefully a lot of people aren't afraid to speak up now. Hopefully people will continue the dialogue like Charlie has.
We got to get the thought out of people's head that because Trump won, it's over. And I hope this woke up.
It's only just beginning, George. It's only just beginning. That's the truth.
No, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. But people think it's over. I get what you're saying.
I hate that. I hate what happened to Charlie. But maybe it might wake up a lot of people about what the hell, like you said, that about what's going on in this country, that the people don't understand really about the good versus evil here.
Holy war.
Yeah. And the way they have it, the Democrats, evil is good and good is evil. That's it.
When you look at the rhetoric, like that Governor Prickster, right? The rhetoric from him yesterday, right? You look at their rhetoric; it's unbelievable. They're just they like the political violence. Now, the shooter, we don't know if he was a leftist. We don't know if he was a deep state. I mean, there's people even talking about he could be somebody from a foreign country. They wanted to quiet Charlie. I mean, the effect Charlie Kirk and his organization has had on young people. To move. I mean, my daughter was the one who. I mean, we were at a funeral yesterday. Emma was the one who called me in panic that Charlie got shot, and I didn't even know. She's 19 years old. She listens to Charlie. Her friends listen to Charlie. I mean, he's powerful. He's so powerful to our kids, and hopefully there's somebody that steps up that takes that void. I always said when Rush Limbaugh passed, he gave that microphone over to people like Charlie Kirk. So
he was somebody. 100% right. Charlie Kirk was a combination of Rush Limbaugh and Billy Graham. What's his name said that? Remember that?
Yep. So
and
we need somebody to step up.
Me up yesterday. I had kids texting me yesterday. They couldn't believe it. Why did this happen? That's what they say. Why?
Yep.
And I have to understand how bad evil is. And that's what the message has got to get across.
I think personally, I think that what happened yesterday is going to galvanize so many young people to go to the right once they've seen what happened, because there's no way you can say it was anybody on the right that did that. It's a deep state hit. I don't think it's no lunatic. It's nothing like that. And it was done to silence him and to create desperation and everything. So I think it's going to have, my personal opinion is it's going to have the opposite effect. And I think it's going to galvanize the younger people to fight even more and follow in what he said.
Kind of
that's what got Trump elected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really believe that. And you say God works in mysterious ways, and yes, He does. And we don't always know the reason why things happen. But if you look at the good that could come of that's the only thing I want to look at. I don't want to look at the bad part of it. I want to look at the good part of it, that he sacrificed for our country so that the younger people will take off where us older people are going to leave off, because once we're all gone and the young people wouldn't take it over, our country would be lost.
The Congressman Jason Chaffetz was there.
Yeah, he was right up there. Yeah.
That was his state. That's his state. He was a senator at that state.
Congressman. I don't think he was a senator. He was congressman. Yeah.
Great guy.
I watched. I was so sad over this yesterday with Charlie Kirk. Mm-hmm. I went back and I watched the video, and everybody could. I'm not talking about the video of him getting shot. I
saw that and was
I've seen it too many times. I didn't want to talk about that. But there's a video of Charlie Kirk that you could look up. I would say probably put in the words Charlie Kirk election night 2024, and that's when they called Pennsylvania for Trump. And I remember I had a couple of things I was watching on election night. I had Ed on a screen. I had Charlie Kirk on a screen with I had like 3 screens going on election night.
Idea man.
And and I remember when they told Charlie Kirk that Pennsylvania was called, and it's such a wonderful. And I watched yesterday, and I don't want to get tears in my eyes now to talk about it, but it was so emotional, so powerful.
Yeah.
Charlie just sat there and took it in. And he went like this, and he's sitting there, and his wife Erica came and hugged him. So beautiful. If anybody gets a chance, look it up. I think I shared it somewhere on Twitter yesterday. That's how I choose to remember Charlie right now, besides being a great activist. But I try to think about that. And Angel said she watched that video this morning, and it was.
The thing is what the left is doing, how they project Charlie Kirk. You understand? They project him as a right-wing activist.
Yeah.
They do not say what he was and what he did, and how he grabbed the younger generation, the Generation Z, and everything else. How many he convinced a lot of people to get married.
Yeah.
He-
Oh yeah.
he-
Good. Christian
That's what
says.
we're talking about.
Christian says that. Yeah.
He was changing the morals and the ethics of the younger generation and getting them back to the family unit, and that is such a direct threat to the New World Order and their androgyny and one world religion and everything. They couldn't have that. And with his voice, I'm just saying what my opinion is, but his voice was so powerful that I think it really drove a stake into the New World Order, everything that he was doing.
Look in the chat. Look in the chat right now. Hardman just said, my 15-year-old daughter cried horribly. That's the kind of connection Charlie Kirk had with these people. And I mean, with these young kids, I mean, he was definitely a threat to, whether you want to call it the left, whether you want to call it New World. There's so many different things you could look at, but he was a threat to make people think for themselves.
Powers that be. That's a good way to put it. He was a threat to the powers that be.
And I seen Red Ginger comment on I guess on the video I was talking about. She says she cried with Charlie that night, and I did too in victory, and then opposed to yesterday crying for Charlie. Right? I mean, it was a total contrast, but sad day.
Hey everybody! Don't forget to give us a thumbs up. It's very important for us. So we can keep the show going. So I hate to get off the subject, but we have to. This show
right now there's 45.
Yeah.
How about that? Born alive for 45 likes.
This show is very important to get the truth out, and we don't. It's not. We don't. This is not bullshit time. This is time that we have to understand what we have to get ready for. And I'm telling you, don't be surprised.
I agree with you, George. I think it's going to be very important to have an open dialogue and have an uncensored view of opinions and news and everything, because I think things are going to get pretty damn dicey. And I know everybody agrees with that. And dicey is probably putting it mild, because there's a lot of things that could be coming down the pike because of this, and this could just be the opening salvo.
I'm going to tell you something. Election night, because Sean brought it up. We were there election night.
Yeah.
We had a whole bunch of people there. And the thing was, I told everybody Trump was going to win. I even said it when I was on Ed's show a long time ago, when Trump made the announcement on November 15th, 2022. But the thing was, I saw Ann Elizabeth. We had her on the show about her son. Mm-hmm. And I hugged her. We cried together, because I said that, and you have to understand, your son helped President Trump get elected because of his life that was sacrificed, and about the drugs, to wake up about the drugs. The left does not give a shit about anything. They don't care. They rather have evil and everything else, because they're losing control.
Well, they care about one thing: when they could politicize it. Yep. Whenever they could politicize a death or politicize something, that's what they care about, the politicization of it.
Yep.
I don't know. I think people in the chat, people that watch the show, if you could, I know this is kind of like off the subject, but pass around our show to people. When you talk to people and everything, just mention it. You even if you're in the grocery store.
Rumble. People didn't even know what Rumble was. I told them
exactly.
Well, there's a lot of people know. Yeah, a lot of people know Rumble. Yeah. Yep.
So talk about it. The more, people that can talk uncensored and tell you what's really going on is going to become very, very important.
Yeah, tomorrow we're going to talk about a lot of stuff. Plus, we're going to do a show on Tuesday and Thursday night We want to get at least 30 hours in so we can make the leaderboard and stuff. So, and we got a few announcements to make too, also with Trixie and I, and we're going to continue the show to keep on going and progressing. We got to get people to subscribe to us and all that stuff and everything else. We'll talk about it tomorrow. It's very important, so we could keep the show going.
Yeah, I think this show's been a very important voiceover. It started out with Ed, and he was pretty good with it.
I had a coffee shop. I was with him play. I drove 4.5 hours to get to the coffee shop.
And you know, all of us are pretty much aware of everything that's going on. We get some good information out, and none of us are afraid to speak the truth, and we will do it too. So
look how great the show. I mean, for that many people to show up at the convention, thanks to Mark, but at a convention at Nashville was unbelievable. The amount of people, and the love and the warmth and stuff from all these people was phenomenal. I couldn't say it any best than that. I mean, the people were unbelievable. I mean, people were funny, and we had a great time. Even if I can't know how to get into an SUV, because I fall out.
Lacey said she just came because it was Nashville. She didn't come for the show.
Yeah, that's.
She came.
Well, everybody, thanks again, and that's why we put
drinks.
Well, again, like we said, don't forget about Charlie Kirk, and
don't forget about 9/11 either.
And don't forget about 9/11. And next year will be the 25th anniversary. Today is actually called Patriot Day, and they're trying to pass it as Patriot Day. So, if you could call your congressman, even if they're useless, some of them.
Most of them are, which is unfortunate too.
I've been in politics a long time with all these bullshit things. It's amazing what I've seen. And they told me last year, 2 years ago, they wanted me to run for office. You know what I told them? I said, "Who do you want me to fucking kill?" Because I can't. You got to. There's a reason everything is brought. It's God, country, and the Constitution. And these people, they take oaths on these things. They don't know what the hell they're taking oaths on. Half of the Democrats took an oath on comic books.
And the Quran.
Quran too, yeah. They got to get out of Congress. There should be none of them in there. You hate this country, you shouldn't be in there. Look all the shit that's coming up. Right?
Isn't it amazing that people that hate our country so much, but they won't leave it?
No, look at the money they're making. Are you kidding me? The net worth just changes so much. I have a guy comes on my page and tells me, "Oh, you're following Fox about the net worth of Elon." It doesn't matter. Her net worth is $30 million. Who gives a shit how she made it? She made it because it's all the rich people telling poor people that rich people are making them poor. And it's them, the Democrats. You go back in history, it was the Republicans that gave the blacks the right to vote, blacks to free the slaves. It was all Republicans. It had nothing to do with Democrats. Democrats are the ones about the slavery.
Yeah.
We lost that because of the way
it's interesting how they try to erode history.
Oh, they do it all the time.
Yeah, I mean how they try to take it and erase history.
You know why? Well, the victor always writes history, and if you look at the institutions like right now in the United States, right now most of it is foundational leftists, and that's where a lot of the problems are. But going back to Charlie Kirk, I don't know how to say this any other way, but maybe it's truly a blessing in disguise because it's such a humongous wake-up call to the other side, the younger ones that were sitting on the fence. And I think if foundationally we can go back to what the founding fathers had in Christianity.
What about the coronavirus? The kids, look what the parents found out about what the kids were being taught. It's hard to say that it was a blessing in disguise because of what we lost. But it was God makes things happen for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And the sacrifice of Charlie Kirk is going to wake up this country, hopefully, that as a sacrifice that was made by him because of an assassin. It was actually an assassination. It was no assassination.
I think it's going to be a pivotal moment in history when
remember that people cannot forget.
I really do.
They cannot forget.
It's it's either going to be a positive or it's going to be a negative. Because
It's going to be the younger generation's 9/11. That's
the negative part is going to be there's going to be a lot of people killed on the left and the right, and it's going to be mostly left. And if they don't keep this shit together, you only can poke the bear so far. I'm going to a rally Sunday for Charlie Kirk. They're going to do a flag thing and a thing. I'm wrapping my AR-15 across my fucking bike, and that's how I'm going to ride there. They tried to take me out, not once, a couple of times.
Yeah,
and I ain't going to stand by.
I see, there's going to be a lot of vigils for Charlie probably over the weekend. I just seen something before we came on the show this morning. There was, I know Tim Pool tweeted it out. I guess over in Seattle, there was a vigil last night for Charlie Kirk, and his leftists are there. He should have been, good for him. Yeah. He's dead. I mean, there's going to be some, that this will be like the new protest. They're come to the vigils to protest our.
This cheek don't fucking work anymore. Turn the other cheek doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
Turn the other cheek ain't working anymore.
Yep.
No, but go back to the Old Testament, eye for an eye, and I think that's what's going to happen.
Hey,
yeah.
God gave his angels weapons because of the tolerance.
Yeah.
The tolerance. God gave everybody weapons. We can not accept the tolerance of evil. And that's what God did. That's what happened with all through the Old Testament and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
you'll read me in the paper.
The paper. I don't get the paper anymore.
Yeah.
At least we don't around here.
Well, you see me on X. God bless everybody. Thanks for joining. Sorry, I got a little emotional, but very hard. Thanks.
No tipping in the swear jar today, George. You're excused for that.
Oh shit!
Yeah. You got dispensation today.
I just broke the fucking jar. All right.
God tomorrow's a new day, George.
See you guys tomorrow.
Look at it this way. Tomorrow's Frisky Friday.
Oh, I'm gonna rant tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sure you're gonna rant tomorrow, but today was kind of a special day, so we kind of went off format of what we normally do. So anyways, if on the way out, please hit the like button for us and pop over and check out Mike Schwartz. He's got some good stuff going on over there too.
Yep.
All right. God bless everybody. Good night. Good night. Good night. Say good night,
Thanks
Nick.
for being with us. Bye.
And thanks for all the love. Appreciate that.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us today.